Good evening. Happy Friday night. This probably won't get uploaded until like Saturday sometime. Maybe even Saturday evening. Man, that new phone I got, it takes a very long time to move stuff from the GoPro to this phone using Wi-Fi. Because the app itself uses Wi-Fi, and I don't know why it takes that long. My last phone, it was actually much quicker. This one, it was about a minute transfer per minute recorded. But here it's more like 3 minutes of transfer for every minute recorded. And I haven't changed the settings on the GoPro, so that kind of leaves the phone. I've tried the direct wire approach, plugging the phone directly into the GoPro. That wasn't working out very well because GoPro, they're assholes like that. Because really what they want you to do is they want you to stream it online so that way they can use your crap anytime they want to, and I don't agree with that. So I may just start pulling the memory card out of this thing and then plugging it into the phone, taking the video off, and then putting it back in to give them the finger. But anyway, so I have my request here. It is written in here. I started recording this video and I showed the blooding of it, the results of the blooding, not the blooding itself. And it's very clear. I like to like prick a finger and then put it on like my thumb or something like that, and then I'll roll my thumb over it, just like a signature. It's a little bit harder to fake, right? It's more for my thing, not theirs. So we have the request in here. I wrote the request out. The target is on the request. The request was blooded. The name was blooded. So we're good to go here. Here I brewed some mugwort tea. I have a single cup brewer in here that sometimes I use for my old man chamomile tea at night. And but I also use it for stuff like this, so offerings. So this is mugwort tea at his request, and I'm kind of leaving it on here for now. I'll probably move it over there. He's not going to get that every night, so I think should be okay. There we go. He already knows this. He already knows it's his. So, all right, there's that. So what are we going to do? We're going to make the doll. Now, the number of strands here represent kind of the number of, you could say, joints in the body, if you will. And what that is going to kind of depend upon your belief system. I don't really have a rhyme or reason when I do it like this. Right now I just do it. And it usually just starts off something like this. Now with some of these we'll get wrapped around this way to make the kind of flesh the head out a little bit more, because the head is actually pretty important for what we're doing, because we will eventually enliven, as they call it, this doll. And what that means is you would directly turn it into a likeness of the person that you are going after. It acts similar to an opening. You're opening it like it's from then on that person, and will be acted on like it's that person. So the last time I did it, I was using more like t-shirt thickness material. So this stuff I'm probably going to have to use an accelerant to burn, frankly. But that's how we're going to do it. So this is going to be a lot thicker than the last time I did it. Obviously not complaining, just stating. Like this area is going to be hard to burn in a single go without I'll probably just use Tiki Torch fuel because I have that. We'll see. I mean, that's 21 days from now. So we're halfway done. Traditionally, this was done actually with straw, is my understanding. I've not seen it done. I've only read about it from the school materials I was given, and it is different than this, which is why I'm showing this, because that stuff I do have a secrecy thing going on with that, just an oath, right, which I intend to keep, and this I don't. Because I was kind of shown this, and then I found a similar one actually in teachings that I may have read at one point, but a lot of this was dictated. I wrote it down from a conversation with Zhao Gongming, so I don't feel that I'm betraying anything here. Because what am I? I'm not really saying much. You can still do this. There are other things in the school one that they do that I'm not doing here, and I don't know that it would make much difference. This is really a petition, right? This is a petition to Zhao Gongming. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to start binding some of these things, so then I can then work on the head. And if I decide that I don't like how the head turned out, then I'll just use another piece of cloth later on to bind that up. Because really, I need to paint a face on it to enliven it. And I'll be using Cinnabar, the red Cinnabar ink, for that. Okay. All right. Oops, forgot my scissors. Excuse me a moment. So here we are essentially replicating the knee. And I don't honestly recall if the school stuff does this or not. I just know that I'm doing it. And that stuff actually, now that I think about that stuff, is in a public book. You can find it in a public book. Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap monetarily, but it's pretty invaluable otherwise. So now we're gonna do the knees. All right, here's the other knee. I mean, keep in mind, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to get burnt. This is about an enemy. It's not about us. One thing I did forget, though, was the cover cloth. Last time I did this, I had this covered because I was doing other workings in this ritual space that were on the lighter side. Like, I don't want to say banishing, but the Golden Light ritual, for example. And I would have a tendency to fill my entire space with that. And that can disrupt the spell just a little bit. But you don't really want to touch this. I'll be cleansing, like we did it with smoke, but I'll be doing some salt water, a spritz bottle with salt water in it to purify the entire form, if you will, once it's been put in its form. And then I'll also do that to myself daily after each recitation and request. So it's not quite as simple as, you know, burning some incense and going, but it's not, you're not going to be up for all hours of the night or anything either. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm using jute here, jute twine. I just got it at the hardware store a while ago. I've had this stuff for years. But if I'm going to burn something, I'd rather be, you know, something natural for this. Because there are a lot of stuff we're going to be burning in here that isn't, like the ancestor money isn't, the ingots themselves. They might be paper, but that paper is spray painted or somehow otherwise got gold coloring on it, and those typically aren't things you want to breathe in, right? In fact, in some of the temples in Taiwan, they're starting to try to ban large incense burnings because and ancestor money burnings, because the fumes that go into the air from the incense can be somewhat hazardous to inhale in those quantities, or over that prolonged period of time. Take your pick. And the materials used in dyeing papers, dyeing clothes, like this ancestor money stuff, you really don't know what's in it. So they're trying to ban some of that because it can be not good for your lungs, right? And I can appreciate lung health because I have lung issues. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in my request here, and if I'm probably going to run out of twine. So if I do run out of twine, then I'll just use a simple incense cone. Since the censer incense that I used the other night was mostly for the overall cleansing, I can just use another piece of incense to do something similar. And this isn't going to be tied in some specific way or category. It's just I need to fasten it to the chest, and that's really it. There we go. Just enough. And I want this over the heart area because in the end I'm going to stab something through the heart of it. And here we got this nice cute little tone going on. Yeah, we're going to do this. And so you have a stab through the heart. That is true. Because what we're doing is we're mimicking how Zhao Gongming himself was supposedly killed in one of the myths, not the one where he was a beggar that got turned into a god. Because he wouldn't have had a need to be a general. If he was a general and was still a beggar, then that seems a little strange to me. So I'm just going to tuck this underneath here, and that should suffice for our face. If I need to, I'll put a piece of paper over here, but that should be good. Now, the first time I did this, the last time I did this actually, this ritual, I waited to do the linking because I didn't want to tip the target off. Because when you're linking to a target, if you link right away, and it's a 21-day ritual, and they aren't completely oblivious, then they might get tipped off if you have enough energy to do that. And I've done enough workings against things of interest elsewhere in the world, to have dealt with counter magicians before. It's kind of rare. I don't expect it really in this case, but I mean, anybody could be a magician, though. That old lady, by magician I mean somebody that can just do magic. You know, some old genuine lady sitting back at the back church pew. I mean, she can be a magician. Just because she's a Christian doesn't mean she's not a magician. Because magic is independent of religion. Okay, so that'll be fine. There, we'll kind of define that a little bit more. All right, I know. Probably not as climatic as you were thinking it would be, but it'll work. So what I'm going to do now, spritz it. This is sea salt and water. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not here to coat it entirely. What I am doing, though, is when I'm spritzing this, I'm sending the intent of cleansing and it pulling all of those impurities that are still there, and by impurities I mean things that would tie it to something other than my target, right? And this is going to have 21 days to dry, so we're really not worried about that. I'm not going to do the calling tonight. It is getting late, and frankly I would rather do it tomorrow. Yeah, so what I'll end up doing here is I'll probably take a piece of shipping paper that I've got. We still got some shipping paper from, in fact, why don't I just go ahead and get it instead of tell you what I'm probably going to do. Let's just do it, right? All right, so this is where it's going to kind of be put on, and what I'll probably do is I'll take this and put it underneath here now that you've kind of seen it. And the reason for that is I want to keep it acts as a visual separation, so I can still use this space for other things. And then instead of touching it and putting my imprint on here, I'll move it around on this paper. So that way the only definite link at that point in time should be with the target. So when I do the rituals, pull this up, do it like this, pull it down, and that also kind of gives you a mental signal that the ritual is done. And mental signals actually can be important. Some people say, "Oh, you don't want the light polluting this." Well, I don't really have to worry about that. This is largely going to be empowered by Zhao Gongming and the energies that he's putting into this over this period of time, which is what it is. It's a petition over 21 days, right? And so I'm really not worried about the light, because that isn't something that Zhao Gongming can't overcome. I mean, that's not something that I could overcome. But it does do some really good, significant mental things. And one of those is that it provides a sense of closure. And since we're not tying it up and tossing it in someplace, something else, then it's still going to be noticeable and it's still going to be there. It'll still be on your mind, but not so much that you're going to keep linking to it the whole time, because you absolutely do not want to keep linking to this, especially once it's been brewing for days and days and days. You know, I mean, this gets impregnated with just nasty shit for 21 days, right? And the level of that nasty shit is actually on Zhao Gongming, though. I'm making the request, but I'm also leaving it in his hands as to the severity. So I can make my petition. I have made my petition. I said what my intent is, why I wanted it. I already know he's accepted it. I still have to do a formal ask, but he's going to determine what it should be, because this isn't just some I'm some pissed off magician that didn't get their way, and so now I want to take it out on something like that. This is actually genuinely about bringing balance. This is just one of the acts, right? This is just one of the acts on one of the sides. I'll start doing stuff on the other side once this gets kicked off. And I'm still doing other rituals in the meanwhile. Here next Monday, I'll be kicking off a 9-day ritual for the Hecatan. The copy of the Hecatan that I have. That's not public yet. I've only told one other person, so yes, that 9-day ritual will start then. So I'll be doing that. I'll be doing this. I'll be still doing the 76-week Goetia. I still have my daily cultivation work. So there's a lot going on. And yes, I can't just dedicate my space to this one ritual, or I wouldn't need to cover it up. I wouldn't need to put it away, because it just wouldn't be in the area. And I also don't want those energies bleeding into my other works. I don't want them bleeding into the space around me. So this kind of acts as a simplistic but effective buffer. Last time I used just cloth, and then I burnt the cloth with it. But this time I have this shipping paper, which doesn't have anything of me really on it. So that works for me too. All right, there we go. Prep 3 is done. Our preparations are largely done at this point. So the next video I do will probably be the official ask. Probably tomorrow. Maybe Sunday if I get busy. Because there's still stuff to do around the house too. I can't just do this all day long. So, all right. See you then.